In 2006, my first paycheck as a junior doctor in Australia was $1,600 for just 4 days worth of work. I was taken aback, thinking there had been an error. But no, a fortnight later, I received $3,000 check for 8 days worth of work. That's the salary of SRMO or Senior Resident Medical Officer in Emergency Department. To give you an idea, junior doctors in Australia on an average make around $2,500 to $3,200 every fortnight. Remember, hospitals here pay salaries every 2 weeks, and that comes out around $6,500 to about $7,000 a month. That's post-tax, and that was 18 years ago. Now, let's dive deeper into doctors' earnings in Australia. In Australia, irrespective of your medical specialty, doctors generally have comfortable life. They rank among the top 10 income earners in the country. They can afford luxuries like private schooling, fancy cars, vacations, and own beautiful homes and villas. But which specialty earns the most? While GPs operating multiple practices and even out-earn surgeons, it is more about how much time you're willing to commit. Some might wonder about high return specialties like surgery or dermatology or radiology. While these do often earn more, there is more to the story. In this video, we will delve into the sources of these income and where do we get the numbers from, top 10 high earning specialties in Australia, and then we'll conclude with some very unique insights. The Australian Tax Office, after auditing millions of salaries, releases data on top earners. Doctors consistently rank high earners, but these figures can be misleading. While a doctor might report an income of $700,000 after operational costs like staff salaries, property and other investments and the working and operating cost of the business, the actual taxable income might be very different, might be closer to about $400,000. The real earnings might be much higher, but business expenses lower the reportable taxable amount, and that's what happens typically with all reportable ATO tax salaries. Moreover, many doctors operate under business names which aren't linked directly to the medical professions in the ATO's data. This means doctors often earn far more than what is publicly disclosed. Here's a more succinct summary of the data you might find very useful. Number one, surgeons. Now, ATO figures $457,000 to $281,000. In reality, they might be earning $593,000, $861,000 to up to $1.5 million. Average around $700,000 to about $1.5 million. Reason for high earning? Shortage of surgeons, tightly regulated training intake, operative nature of work, and potentially charge premium fees, which is also known as gap fee. The working hours, however, can be very long, up to about 50, 60, up to 80 hours for some very busy specialties like neurosurgery, orthopedics, vascular, and even pediatric surgery. Number two, anesthesia. Now, ATO quoted figures are about $426,895. Reality, it could be anywhere in between $700,000 to up to $800,000. Now, I even come across anesthetists who are earning more than $1 million as a standard for a number of years. Reason for high income? Essentially, for all surgeries, anesthesia required. And they don't just provide anesthesia during the surgery. They're responsible for pre-operative care, the operative care and anesthesia, and post-operative pain management. So their work or trade is actually quite multimodal. Their working hours can be often long, but averages between 50 and 60 hours. And that can compromise a well-being. Anything which is above 40 hours, I think it just compromises the well-being of a doctor and increases burnout. Number three, gastroenterology. Now, ATO figures quoted $419,000, $707,000. In reality, they could be earning between $490, $775 up to about $690, $116. Now, trainee intakes about 143 intakes per year, and the working hours average between 40 to 50 hours. Not a bad balance there. And their work is quite diversified. They do a lot of procedures like endoscopy, ERCPs, and that is where the bulk of the major income is coming from. Number four, cardiology. I could take cardiology on top of the list. Some of the cardiologists are really earning very good money. Now, ATO figures reflect $469,000. In reality, they're earning between $565,000, $376,000 up to $788,000. Their procedure rank up to $1 million. So these could be procedures like interventional cardiology for angiography, the pacemaker, the EP studies, the transthoracic and transesophageal echoes. They take about 70 trainees per year, and their working hours can be often quite long, up to 50, 60 hours in just a public sector. But if you take into account the private worker, which can be very busy, it could easily rake up to about 70, 80 hours per week. And their on-call is always busy, especially for interventional cardiologists. They're on-call for cath labs, they're on-call at private hospital as well. So it is a very high demand and very stressful jobs. Number 5, radiology. ATO figures scored $386,491. Now, I have never come across a radiologist in my life who would earn $386,491. It's just not possible. Reality, their income is close to between $600 to about $1 million per annum, and that's for the fresh graduate radiology. Why? Even though they take training about 500 per year and their working hours could be between 50 to 60 hours, their work is demanded mostly in the private sector. Now, most of the public hospital radiology service is actually being provided by many of the private big radiology conglomerate, and they hire these fresh young radiology doctors to provide services in these sectors. So their income is based on reporting. Some of the interventional radiologists can also double up their income. So their income can easily be up to $1 million. Number 6, gynecology and obstetrics. ATO figures cost $360,596. In reality, they might be earning between $500 to up to $700,000. They take about 185 to about 200 trainees per year. Working hours can be between 40 and 60 hours. But then again, if you mix in a private work, it could easily rake up to about 80 hours per week. They do a lot of procedures, small office procedures, and also surgeries and laparoscopic surgery, which demands a lot more higher income and attract much more higher Medicare rebates. And some of the gynecologists are premium. They do charge a lot of gap fee, especially with obstetric services. Number 7, internal medical specialists. Now, ATO figures scored between $334,267. In reality, they might be earning between $400,000 to up to $800,000. That's correct. There's a wide variation in their income. They take about 900 trainees per year. The working hours could be between 40 and 50 hours. And the reason for this wide variation, because they could be nephrologists, they could be medical oncologists, geriatricians, internal medical specialists, is because of large number of private work. When you go to the private hospital, most of the patients are either admitted as geriatricians or under internal medical specialist. So they do command a lot of private work, which doubles up their salary quite easily. General practitioners, who would have thought they would be in top 10 income earners? Their incomes vary based on the patient numbers and the practice ownership. Reality is that the GPs operate as individual businesses. Individual GP may earn between $350,000 to about $450,000 depending on the number of patients that they're seeing. But if they own multiple practices, that can easily rake up to incomes between $1 to up to $2 million. They can earn even more than surgeons. But this income is pre-expenses. They still have to bear the cost of the practice running, hiring the staff like admin staff, nursing staff, other doctors. But then again, the GPs do operate as private business and they can easily increase their income. Number 9, emergency physician. Now, it would be unfair for me to leave out emergency physician. ATO figures quote their earnings between $260,000 to about $350,000. Reality, their income could be anything between $400,000 to up to $600,000. They take about 1,500 trainees per year. The starting salary of an emergency physician in a public sector is about $275,000, which can easily increase up to $550,000 for senior emergency staff specialist or a senior emergency consultant in public hospital sector in Australia. Visiting medical officers are consultants who are hired as locum but for long-term contracts, and they can earn really very good income. They're paid average on an hourly rate of about $250, and their per shift rate is $2,500 per superannuation. Now, there are lots of benefits when you work in public hospital systems. Paid leaves, allowances, better work-life balance. If you're working full-time, you might be working 16 shifts in a month, but out of those 16 shifts, only 12 would be clinical shifts and 4 would be your office days, which are utilized for training, education, administrative work in the emergency department. Number 10, psychiatrists. Now, ATO figures quote $350,000. In reality, they could be earning between $385,000 to up to $450,000. They take about 1,700 trainees per year. Their average working hours is perhaps the best of them all, 37.7 hours per week. Psychiatrists in reality can increase their salary significantly, and some of the psychiatrists do earn up to $500,000 to up to $600,000. And this has increased recently because of private work. They do a lot of telemedicine consultations for mental health patients, and their patients do remain in a long-term follow-up. So I think this is what adds to the value of their income from a private sector again. High earnings might be tempting. It's crucial to balance out work with life. High earning specialty might require 60, 70 hours a week, whereas a role in a public hospital system might be just 30 or 40 hours. Burnout, high insurance cost, and stress are the realities of high income specialties. On the other hand, a consistent, relaxed job might not be stimulating, but it does offer a room for personal growth and stable lifestyle. Always prioritize your well-being, take care, and until next time, goodbye.